Hi, friends. This is Alyssa. All right. This is a reading from Saturday, January 2nd, 2016. I was doing some studying today in Yonggi Mingyur Rinpoche's book, The Joy of Living, Unlocking the Secret and Science of Happiness. And I came across a section about the impermanence of time and how time is not a real entity or thing, but just a concept created by the mind. What struck me in particular was the concept that the future is just a thought passing through your mind. This gave me some comfort in contrast to what I was feeling yesterday, the sense of loss surrounding the future that Alan and I had planned together. I've been feeling this intense sense of mourning over the fact that future will never be realized. I had wanted it so badly. It seemed so tangible. I felt like it was within my grasp and then had been ripped away. In truth, this was only ever a fabrication that I created with my thoughts. It was never a real thing to be lost, yet I was clinging to it as if my whole life's happiness depended upon it. But it was never real, so therefore, it's not actually a loss. This isn't to diminish the feelings that I have. Those feelings are my reality, but it does give me some comfort to change my perspective, to realize that future was never a certainty. Can I start to be more comfortable with uncertainty? If I can learn to look at things from a different perspective, can I look at things with more detachment and curiosity? Hey, look at how much energy I put into daydreaming about something that never came to be. Isn't that interesting how my mind made that so real that it felt like a tangible loss? Isn't it curious that I can still feel that almost physically, while at the same time my brain is rearranging and looking at it from a different angle? Now I feel the judge starting to come out and say how silly it was for me to have done that. But the reality is, Miss Judge, that I came at the situation with what I knew at the time, with all kinds of different factors playing into it. So it's not as if I did something wrong, and it is exactly as if I'm learning from it now. Wow, brains are incredible. All right, I guess I'm going to keep going. Monday, January 4th, 2016. Deep breath. Damn, I'm struggling. I think I thought I was doing better than I actually am. I have been succumbing to addictive behaviors, and the universe, I think, is finally giving me what I was asking for. All the while, I thought I was healing. I was still yearning for some, I don't know the right word, link, connection to Alan, putting myself in situations where I might see him, basically stalking Facebook for some sign of him. I never used to get on Facebook so much. Trying so hard to do things that he does, that we did together, things that would make him proud of me, or show him that I could do it on my own. I was still doing these things for him in some way, not just for me. The chainsaw, I bought a chainsaw. The same pass for snowboarding that we had before. And who am I fooling? I've barely used the pass twice so far. I hate going snowboarding by myself. It blows. It just reminds me that I'm alone. And am I really going to go dirt biking by myself? Who am I fooling? Seriously. Myself, apparently. I get so anxious anytime I'm near where he might be. Excited. It's like a drug. And I'm tired of it. I'm just clinging, grasping. When I say that the universe finally gave it to me, I'm referring to the fact that I just found out that Josh's ex-roommate, Ryan, and his lady just moved in with Alan unknowingly. I went all crazy contacting Ryan to inform him. I was friends with Ryan too. That's actually how I met Josh. But anyway, I went all crazy contacting Ryan to inform him that it was my ex that he was living with. I hadn't spoken to Ryan for quite some time. Why did I feel the need to butt my head into that? The link. I wanted a link and I got a link. And it's only hurting me. Now I've got questions running through my mind. What kind of shit is Alan talking about me to them? Do they believe him? What are they telling him about me? Apparently, they're not too fond of me since I'm friends, close friends with Josh. They had a huge falling out. Josh and this friend Ryan had a huge falling out when Josh moved out. They used to be roommates. So anyway, they had a huge falling. They had a huge falling out when he moved out. Do they know that I had sex with Josh? Did they tell him? What does he think now? If Ryan didn't know that I had sex with Josh, he still knew that I was sleeping over. Did they tell Alan that? Did he make assumptions? Did Heather and Aaron tell Alan that Josh and I slept in the same bed at Steamboat? That Josh was trying to kiss me? That we were snuggling? Oh, God. Fuck. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with me? I thought I was doing really well when I was working with my therapist. I was fooling myself and her. I started feeling really good, but most of it, or a lot of it anyway, was because I was getting close to Josh and not feeling so lonely. I stopped doing the work. I fell back into the same pattern. I latched onto Josh because he made me feel good. It came in a different form, but it is the same pattern. I dropped it all. I dropped all of the work because I was so lonely and I found someone who made me feel good. But I guess I have to give myself credit because I did realize it. It felt good for a little while, but then it started to not feel so good because Josh wasn't measuring up to Alan. And that's when I realized it. I realized that it was losing its appeal because he wasn't measuring up to Alan. And then I realized that what I had been doing the whole time was trying to find a replacement, someone to meet those needs that Alan was meeting. The work didn't take hold. I see it now, though. I'm searching for something from somebody else that I need to be finding within myself. I was so lonely, so desperate, that I forgot that I was supposed to be working on meeting those needs. Saturday, January 30th, 2016. It's strange how quickly things can turn around. Seems like just over the course of last week, I went from desperate, longing, and frankly lost feeling to upbeat, motivated, and I don't know exactly how to describe it, maybe just okay with being kind of lost. I'm not sure what turned things around. The Mercury retrograde ended. Had a really fun time out last weekend with Josh, Aaron, and Chris. Chatted with Heather a little and spilled my guts about still being hung up on Alan. It's always really nice to talk to her about it because she reminds me how fucked up he is. I think that was a big part of it. It really helped me knock Alan down off his, I crossed that out, my imaginary pedestal that I've placed him on. I've also been getting a lot done. I got some wheels to put my summer tires on. Got them refinished and the tires mounted. Got a hitch receiver and I'm getting that refinished. Should have that done this weekend. Got the loan to get a new bike. So I don't know what it is that's making me feel better, but it's nice. And even translating over to work as well. Oh, maybe the weather has to do with it too. It's been really mild, and I've been able to get out on some walks with Bear at work. I'm sure it's a little bit of everything. Another part too is that I have been writing a letter to Alan. Even that has morphed though too. It started out as being about how difficult this has been and about how much I had wanted and loved him. Now it's kind of morphed into a forgiveness letter, talking about how he messed up, but empathizing with it and hoping that he can do the hard work and change that and change so that he can do the hard work and change that damaging behavior so that he can eventually find happiness. I had all intentions of sending him this letter. I've been writing and rewriting it, trying to get it right, trying to get everything in that I want to say to him. I planned it all out, that I was going to send it um, with some other paperwork that I needed to send him. I even seriously thought about taking it to his house with some of the things of his that I've come across. But honestly, that's probably not a good idea. Yeah, yeah. I can get wrapped up in fantasy sometimes. It's a little scary. I'm just glad I didn't act on it yet. I think I definitely need to think that through a little better first. What is this strong urge that I have to bare my soul to him? I'm 99.9% certain I wouldn't get any kind of response. In fact, really, I'm sure of it. So why? I did the same thing with Dad when I met with him that time he was out here in Colorado. Except with that, I was hoping for a response. I knew that I would get some kind of response in that situation, and I was semi prepared for what I got. Thursday, February 4th, 2016. Sometimes it's crazy how it hits me, the intensity of my feelings. Things will be going along like normal, having a perfectly fine day. Then one thought, sometimes it seems like out of nowhere, will send me spiraling until it feels like there is no way for me to possibly stand under the weight of it. Is this what sets me apart from other people? Is this why I've felt so separate, so misunderstood my whole life? It's not that I'm depressed. I don't think so anyway. I'm able to feel happiness, sometimes intensely so. Am I bipolar? That could explain how sudden the mood changes can be sometimes. I don't think that's the case though, not really. I just can't find a good way to explain the way I feel, the way I've felt my whole life, like I was not made for this world. I somehow don't belong here, like I got dropped off at the wrong place. My wiring is different. Things are more for me than they are for other people. But it doesn't feel bad necessarily. It just feels overwhelming to not have anyone else who understands. And not only that, to feel criticized for it sometimes. But I do it to myself probably most of the time. Like, for instance, Aaron and Chris and Heather a little bit too. I told them long ago that I would not talk about what's going on with Alan, that I didn't want to bring them into the middle of it. But now it feels so lonely to have nobody to talk to about it. Sunday, February 7th, 2016. I just woke up a few minutes ago from a dream, and Alan was in it. It's weird because I'm not sure I remember dreaming about him since all of this happened. The dream wasn't all that significant or surprising, but what I felt immediately when waking up shook me a little. I had Maya, the little girl that I nannied for, with me, and we were playing around outside a big building. There was more before this, but I don't really remember. It was a big official building with columns and waist-high brick walls outside, and I was letting Maya walk around on the walls, holding her hand and letting her jump off. I was distracted though, because I was trying to listen in on my phone to what seemed like a radio broadcast of some kind of interview with Alan, his lawyer, and some other people. It was important, but Maya wasn't being quiet, and I kept shushing her, trying to hear what was going on. The only thing I remember hearing was Alan saying something about how he could have done something to my alarm system, some security system that would have locked me out of the house, something like that. He was talking about how he could have done that, had every right to do that, but he didn't. And he seemed to be implying that this showed what a good guy he was. Anyway, none of that really made much sense, but then I took Maya into the building, into a room, and Alan was in there with his lawyer, sitting across a coffee table from her. They were talking as I walked up to the doorway. Everybody fell silent as I stood leaning on the doorway for a second, and then I turned to Maya and asked her if she wanted to go see her father. I was holding her, and she said yes, and so I put her down, and she walked tentatively around the coffee table and passed between Alan's knees and the coffee table, and then came back to me. The impression that I got was that Maya was our child, and that she was very young when all of this went down with Alan, and she hadn't seen him since then, so she didn't remember him. So it was like she was meeting him for the first time. For some reason, I felt at peace when I saw him and knew that it was time for her to meet him. I told her that I knew she was nervous and that was okay, and then asked her if she wanted to try again. Everyone else was silent during all of this. Maya said yes, she wanted to try again to meet Alan, her father, and she started back around the coffee table. And I think that's when I woke up. The dream doesn't seem all that significant, but what I felt when I woke up, it was this intense sense of loss. Alan and I had planned on being together, starting a family, having children, and the realization that it wasn't going to happen hit me hard. We are never going to have kids together. It's a hard pill to swallow because I had wanted that so intensely with him. Another reminder that that dream is just gone. My life is not going to go the way that I had planned, and I'm still trying to be okay with that.